for people to gain a better understanding of digital marketing, to be able to take charge of digital marketing again. We found that there was a lot of information, and a lot of people out there are just kind of drowning in information overload when it comes to digital marketing. So we started our business with a specific focus in mind. We are totally committed to helping to empower small businesses. We're really teachers at heart, and we like to teach people. We like to help them do it themselves instead of doing it for them. Actually, Laura's got a background in teaching. I'll let her speak to that a little bit because that's really our focus and our approach.
Okay. Yeah, my background is I was a high school English teacher, so I naturally just enjoy breaking things down, showing the shortcuts so you don't have to learn things the hard way, the long way, by trial and error. And so that's partially why we're called the communication hackers, is because we hack all those systems and bring to you just the most salient points of what we've learned and what works.
Right, and today we want to talk about Instagram because we think everybody should be using it for their business. And we've got a slideshow, and I'm not sure if that's being shown yet or not,
Yeah,
or whether you've got more to do.
yeah, I just got a few more housekeeping things to
All
do
right.
for our participants. And some of the things that you want to be aware of is that this webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on our website. So if you know of anybody that can take advantage of this great information that you're going to receive today, please tell them about it and point them to our website. Please, if you haven't already, mute yourself when we get a lot of people on a webinar. Sometimes background noise, the fire truck going by, the dog barking, can just be a little distracting to other people. And you also have the option of doing voice versus computer. Excuse me, phone versus computer. If you have questions, in that pane you'll see there's a little hand that you can push when you would like to ask a question, or you can type it into the chat box. Eric and Laura have offered for you to jump in during their presentation if you have a question, and I will be keeping an eye out for your hands and for your questions. And if they're not able to answer it during their presentation, we'll definitely have time afterwards to answer all your questions and anything else you think of during the presentation. Some of you that are here today, I recognize you. Welcome. Good to see you again. For those of you that are not familiar with the Washington Center for Women in Business, we are partly funded by the Small Business Administration, and we provide business support and technical assistance mainly to women business owners, but I don't discriminate against men. So I provide all kinds of coaching and consulting, from startup planning to growing your business. You might need a business or a marketing plan. Perhaps you have questions about your legal requirements. What do you have to do as a business? What are you responsible for? Then, of course, there's operations, all those things that go on a day-to-day business. How do you get the word out? How do you make sure that people know that you've got the solution that they need? So marketing and sales. And I also provide that motivation to keep you going and that accountability that you might need. And we provide these services through one-on-one coaching with me. I also offer workshops and seminars, multi-session trainings, Let's Talk Business like you are on today. And want you to know that we have a calendar on our website, so please be sure to check that out. If you are interested in talking with me one-on-one on whatever concern you may have regarding your business, there's several ways of doing that. Again, through a coaching session with me, If you would like, you can call my number, send me an email, or our office coordinator, Ryan Norskog, also has access to my calendar if you'd like to come in if you're in the area. If you're not in the area, I'm located in Lacey, Washington. Please be sure to get in with me anyway. I'm happy to talk to you via phone or Skype. So that's who the Washington Center for Women in Business is. And now I'm going to switch our screen over to Eric and Laura.
Okay, thank you, Christine. Everybody should see a screen with a phone and using Instagram to grow your small business. A hashtag is worth 1,000 words. And hopefully nobody sees our next slide on the right side.
No, okay. It's looking good.
All right, great. Before we get started, we would like to take a quick little poll just to see where everybody's at and see what kind of businesses people own, just because sometimes we give examples and we'd like to give examples that are relevant. So can everybody type real quick a message saying what kind of a business that they own or what kind of business that they're involved in, just so we can get an idea of who's out there? All right, great, thank you. I see yarn manufacturing, customized engraving. Okay. Anybody else on businesses and business types? Oh, hot sauce business, outdoor adventure. Oh, very cool. Okay, so it looks like memorial art, glass beads. So all sorts of businesses. It looks like everything from service businesses to retail to therapy. Okay, great. Thank you. Great. It gives us a better idea of who we're talking to, so we, like I said, make sure that we're relevant to you.
No, it's just about using Instagram to grow your business.
I'm sorry?
And use Instagram.
Oh, okay. All right, so before we get started into the presentation itself, I know we'd sent out a workbook ahead of time, and
really?
We thought better of trying to have everybody follow along on a workbook and a PowerPoint presentation at the same time. My voice of reason, Laura told me that was probably not going to work so well. So please put that down. We'll work through the PowerPoint, and then at the end, if you'd like our help in making sure to complete that workbook so you've got something to take away with you, we'd be happy to do that. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. I know we, let's see. Uh-oh. We are not able to move on to the next slide. Oh, here we go. All right. So we did a brief introduction a few minutes ago. We've got our Instagram profile down at the bottom if you'd like to check us out in the meantime. And anybody know who Gary Vee is? He's someone that we actually got to see in person in Portland earlier this year, and really he's someone who's an oracle when it comes to social media, one of the biggest social media figures out there, and I think it's really interesting what he says about Instagram. This is part of his quote on Instagram, and he says that anybody right now who isn't spending a disproportionate amount of time trying to figure out the hashtag culture, the Instagram ad product, is making a huge mistake, and he goes on to say that, you know, they're not really going to be set up for success in 2018, 2019, and so we think that we're right at the cusp of a major shift from social media platform to from one to another.
When I go do those two shirts.
I'm sure a lot of you remember MySpace, and when that kind of went,
well, we're done.
Kind of got debunked and disappeared, and now we've got Facebook. Well, people who got in early at that point really were successful, and we really think it's that point now where we're starting to see Instagram growing really rapidly, and now is the time to get in. So what brings customers to your business, and what brings them back? I think that's something that everybody who is a small business owner really needs to think about, and I think that's like when you're doing social media marketing, when you're doing digital marketing, what brings customers in through your doors, whether you're a brick and mortar business or you're a online business, what brings customers into you? And really it comes down to getting their attention, getting them interested in what you're offering, and telling a story that resonates with them, and making a sale. And then what brings customers back? Well, that really comes down to loyalty. Instagram is a phenomenal way to build both of those. Okay.
You guys get it together.
Okay, I think we've got someone who's got an open mic. Because we keep hearing feedback. Is someone not muted? All right. Okay, we'll go ahead and continue. Instagram is like hockey. And the reason we say that is when I grew up in Canada, and ice hockey was the big sport up there. And there was a really popular ice hockey star called Wayne Gretzky. And he had a very famous quote saying that he doesn't skate to where the puck is currently, he always skates to where the puck is going. And Instagram really is where everything is going right now. Instagram is at its growth stage, and it's growing extremely fast. And the people who get on right now are the people who are going to do really well in using Instagram for their digital marketing. Now, why Instagram? Instagram is the fastest growing social media platform for small businesses right now. The last time we checked, which was April of 2017, the last time statistics were published, Instagram had 700 million monthly users, and that is up significantly from last year. And this is at a time where other platforms like Facebook and Twitter are on the downhill slide. And so Instagram is growing extremely fast, and it's very popular. You might think that Instagram is just for teenagers, and we've got teenagers, and it seems like that's what teenagers use to communicate with each other, but really it's a very, very viable platform for businesses to market. And here's a number of reasons why. Everybody wants to use their phones. Everything is mobile these days. Instagram is designed specifically for mobile. Instagram has got a very clean interface, and it's what people want to use. They don't want the distractions of ads popping up. They don't want the distractions of what they call fake news on Facebook. They want pictures. People are driven by images and videos, and that's what Instagram offers. Instagram makes sure that you have to be very clear and concise with your words, and you have to be you use emoticons and icons to communicate, and that's the Instagram culture, and that's what's made Instagram so popular, and that's why Instagram is such a great tool for marketing your business. Again, we just want to encourage questions. Anybody with questions, go ahead and ask us as we go. We would prefer to answer questions contextually, so feel free to send in any questions, type in, or raise your hand. We'd be happy to answer them. So that's why Instagram is such a great platform, and why now is the time to get on.
All right, on this screen you're going to see the old way that businesses would market. A lot of money, a lot of energy was put into signs, billboards, kind of tangible marketing products. And like this old billboard for Sprint, when it was posted in a city, people driving by would see it. You get a couple hundred views of your investment. And the new way is with Instagram, with posts and with visuals. And so I'm showing a comparison here of the way that Sprint has caught on and has transitioned nicely into using Instagram. It's colorful, it's bright, There's very few words, and in the post itself, the image really grabs your eye, and there's not a lot of words until the person gets interested, and then they'll scroll down on that post and then actually read what Sprint has to say.
Well, no.
And if you notice, Sprint's not actually selling anything on that ad. They're not selling a new product or a new service. They are just getting their name out there and joining the discussion and being interesting. That post right there got 130 likes.
And I just want to add to that, the idea of your customer journey, and when we talk about that, we mean the journey from when your customer first notices your business for start and eventually ends up buying from you, buying your service, buying your product on the other end. The journey is so important because when Laura talks about the old way, nobody at Sprint knew what happened between someone seeing that billboard at the start and at the end when they walk into the doors of a Sprint store or they subscribe online for Sprint service. No one knows what happens during that period of time. Now with social media marketing, it's so powerful that we get to control that. We get to find out what customers are doing during that entire process, during that entire journey. We get to control it, and we get to really learn so much about it. And that's what Instagram is all about. Instagram allows you to control and learn about your customer journey so that you get to do something and beyond just posting that billboard, investing all that money and just hoping and crossing your fingers that people start coming in your door. Some scientific studies that we've been reading that are very, very interesting make one thing very clear, and that's that humans crave stories. They don't crave facts. And so, you know, as kids, all of us love sitting down and listening to stories. Story time was something we all loved, I'm sure. And to this day, when we're all adults, stories essentially have a shortcut into the human brain. Literally, studies have shown that when people are told that they're going to be given some facts, that the inner skeptic, as they put it, comes to life, and essentially we look like the person who's sitting back in their chair with their arms crossed, kind of like, okay, how are you going to sell me? As opposed to when someone hears that they're going to be told a story, suddenly all their defenses come down and they want to hear that story and hear how it unfolds. And that allows us to really connect with humans on a human level as opposed to on a salesperson level. And for example, this next photo, can you imagine trying to tell this story using words? It simply doesn't work very well as opposed to just showing them this photo. That's storytelling at its best. And that's why Instagram is such a powerful platform. It allows you to use images to tell your story so that you're tapping into that aspect of humans that leads to them wanting to listen to stories and not listen to your facts.
This is a post here that kind of demonstrates the storytelling that Eric's talking about. This is a post on the left, a real post from REI. So we know that they sell camping and outdoor equipment, but REI is really good at doing storytelling because their posts are inquisitive, and actually they have these three attributes. A good post photo is going to catch your attention, that photo tells a story, and the entire look and feel of it is fun, it's clean, and it's streamlined. So REI here is showing someone waking up from their tent, looking out over a mountain. And as humans, we all crave that. We all want that. That's why we purchase REI products. So they could have simply taken a photo of a new sleeping bag that they're trying to sell on a shelf and posted that. But that's not very attention-getting. That doesn't tell a story, just selling your product. But this is a lifestyle, and people want to buy into this lifestyle. And so REI has capitalized on this storytelling. And then later down in the post, they talk about, you know, what REI is selling perhaps in the post, but not in the photo itself. The photo really needs to lure your potential customers in.
And this demonstrates, I should say actually, instead of demonstrating, I want to talk about something that we've seen a lot of businesses do wrong, and that is they try to use Instagram as a billboard. And Instagram is not a billboard. Instagram is for telling stories and sharing images and tapping into emotion. And so another way REI could have done this, as Laura said, is they could have shown that same tent on the shelf at REI, taken a picture of it and said, this tent's on sale. Or even worse, they could have zoomed in and taken a picture of the sales tag and said, come on in today and get this tent on sale. That is the wrong way to use Instagram. We'll go into the mechanics in a little bit and show you piece by piece how to build a good profile and good posts. But we wanted to give you the overview right now of what Instagram really is for, and that's to tell the story. Hopefully, most of you are familiar with the idea of a sales funnel, and if not, I just want to go over it really quick. And the sales funnel is the idea that, going back to the customer journey, of starting with the customer finding out about your product. They find out about your product either through a web search or through social media, or a friend tells them about it, or anything. They know about your product. That's step one. Step two of the sales funnel is they start learning more about you to decide they actually like you. They like you as a person, or they like your business, or they like your product or service. And then step three is they've decided that they can trust you. They can trust that you'll solve the problem that you have, or that they have. Maybe for those of you who are providing therapy, they've got a problem that needs solving with the therapy services that you provide, and they trust that your specific type of therapy will solve their problem. And then finally, they decide to buy from you. And that's the 4 steps of a sales funnel: knowing, liking, trusting, and then finally buying. And it's important that the sales funnel is actually used as a funnel, because sometimes one of the mistakes we see, and this is what we'd like to give as a pro tip at this point in using Instagram, is we see a lot of people using Instagram as a billboard and just basically skipping the first 3 steps and going straight to the buy. I'll give you a couple of examples. Sometimes we'll see real estate agencies use Instagram to simply post all their for sale properties. And if you go on their Instagram feed, you'll find all their latest properties for sale. That's one way to use Instagram. We just don't think it's very effective. And if you look at their following and the number of people that interact with those posts, you'll see that that's not it. That's not very effective. And so that's why in this slide we wanted to show that Instagram's real strength is in, first of all, getting attention to your business, getting attention to your brand. Secondly, helping people like you, showing your human side, showing that you can tap into storytelling to entertain them. And then number 3, helps you establish the trust relationship. And one of the best ways to establish a trust relationship is to give it a lot of value in Instagram. We'll go over what we do in Instagram in just a little bit, but just to give you a preview on that, we always try to give a lot of value in our posts with digital marketing tips. And depending on your business, you can use that in different ways. For example, I remember one of you had a hot sauce business, and maybe in the trust building and value giving process, you could use Instagram photos of different uses of your sauce. Maybe you can take photos of recipes, different ways your sauces have been used. That's the trust building process, and that's what gets you eventually to the buy end of the funnel. And so we just want to emphasize Instagram isn't to be used, at least it doesn't work very well if you just jump straight to the buy end of the funnel. Instagram strategy. Now we're going to start getting into the nuts and bolts of how to use Instagram effectively for your business. And the 2 things that we encourage everybody to do is take the time to know your audience and then know your business. And when we say know your audience, really understand both the demographics and the psychographics of your ideal customer. And so know who they are. And the basics are probably pretty obvious, gender, age, all the other demographics, where they live, what kind of jobs they have. But even what we've found is more important than that is the psychographics. How are their, what are their values? What are their goals? What things they fear? All those things, or what kind of things they like to do in life. Know all that so that you can tailor your posts and tailor your storytelling and tailor your images to the people that you want to talk to. Kind of like, you know, so you can talk one-on-one with them like you talk with a friend. When you know both of those things, then you've got the ability to jump into the strategy and be the most effective you can be. Now, just a quick preview of the rest of the time we have today. We'd like to talk now really practical, because we've talked theory so far. We'd like to give you some practical strategies and show you step by step how really to use Instagram as a tool, because we think that unless we're being practical, we're not really helping you. So we'll talk a little bit about how to set up a profile. This really is the first step in having a great Instagram strategy, is to have a great profile, because that's where people are going to go look if they want to learn more about you. We'll talk about how individually to craft posts that will get good attention and will build your brand. Finally, we'll talk about how to build a following, and then we'll have some time for Q&A at the end. And so we'll jump right into it. First of all, we want to talk about who's using Instagram, because sometimes we talk to people and they're a little intimidated by Instagram. They feel like, wow, 700 million users daily and all over the world. How do I stand out? The good news is, as a business, the field is ripe for the taking, because most of the 700 million users are individuals. As we talked about earlier, teens like to use Instagram. They use it all the time. Tons of teens and individuals are using Instagram. Unfortunately, there's still a number of bots that are using Instagram, and the amount of businesses that are on Instagram is a small slice of the pie. And when you look at that green part of the pie, we can split that up into a couple other categories. There's businesses that really just aren't doing it right. They're making a number of the mistakes that we've talked about earlier and that we'll talk about again. And then there's a number of businesses that are being abusive, using Instagram kind of just to spam. And the number of Instagram users, business Instagram users that are doing it right, are very small. And so we believe that if you decide to be one of those businesses and harness the power of Instagram properly, that you'll really, really stand out, and stand out from the competition in a big way. Oh, sure. I see a question about bots. And bots are robots. Sometimes they're run by people who just put their Instagram on autopilot, and so sometimes you'll see, if you start using Instagram, people will come to your they'll come and comment on a post that you put out, and pretty quickly you'll realize, why do they comment the same thing every single time? And that's because they're using some form of automation to try to comment and get you to like their profile. When you go to their profile, you'll find a lot of times it lists next to nothing except make quick money this way, or follow this link and grow your Instagram profile by 1,000 people a day. You know, really unrealistic things. And these are people who are just trying to get people to go to their Instagram page and buy their something that you probably don't want to buy in the first place. These are people that, like I said, are sometimes automated people and sometimes actual bots that are electronically created automation tools online. They're just an empty profile.
So when we think about what types of things to post, and as we talk about knowing who your audience is, Eric mentioned you need to know your audience. And when people come and use Instagram, it's on our phone. It's not on our laptop. We are accessing Instagram from our digital device, our phone, or perhaps a tablet. We're mobile, so we're usually walking around, we're laying in bed, or if you're like me, your customers are going to be in the bathtub with a candle lit, a bath bomb fizzing in the tub. They're there to relax. They're coming to Instagram to be entertained or to be inspired. I don't go to Instagram and surf through the feed to purchase things or to be sold or to be scammed. I'm trying to avoid bots, and I'm just trying to relax. So if you can get your company, your brand on there, and it's something that is pleasing, that is interesting, or even educational. That's something that someone can quickly and look at and engage with while they're in the bathtub. So every time we make a post, we try to think about where is our audience? What are they doing? What are they feeling right now? And what do they want to receive from me? And it's not data and it's not facts. It's going to be things that are inspirational or educational.
Yeah, I want to follow up with something that Laura said, and that's about where people are viewing Instagram from, because I think it's really important to think about that as an Instagram marketer. And I've read one statistic that well over 90% of people access Instagram on the phone. I think it was like 95, 97%, because as you'll find out if you ever access Instagram on a computer, it just really wasn't meant for that. The computer access is just to allow you to do a few things you can't do on the phone, but almost everybody's on Instagram on the phone. So whenever you post something, you've got to think, okay, if someone's looking at this on their phone, how are they going to interact with me? How are they going to see this? How is it going to appear to them? Real important to remember where your audience is. As we mentioned earlier, the profile is the heart and soul of your Instagram strategy. And your profile is really important. And before we even get to what should be in your profile, you should make sure that you have a business profile, because there are actually two types of Instagram accounts. There are personal accounts and there are business accounts. And with a business account, you actually have access to a lot more features that you get to see from your side. You get deep analytics on who's accessing your account. You get to see your most popular posts. They'll even tell you when your users are online, the gender of your users, the most popular cities they're coming from. Really, Instagram makes it really, really valuable for you to have a business account. The business account also allows you to boost your posts. And so if you have a post that's doing very well, you can pay Instagram $5, $10, and they will boost it outside of your readership across Instagram, and they will appear as a paid post. And so if you want to use Instagram for advertising, you absolutely need to use a business account. And the good news is a business account is really easy to do. You go into your settings on Instagram, set it up as a business. You do need to have a Facebook page for your business, because the two of them connect. As you probably know, Facebook owns Instagram, and so the two connect together. And when you've got a page connected to your Instagram profile, then it can be a business profile, and it's a lot more powerful.
Another thing with similarity with Facebook, just like you probably have a business Facebook account and you have a private Facebook account, we try not to mix our private life with our business life, so we keep the two separate. And the cool thing about Instagram is it allows you to keep two separate accounts on your phone, on your mobile device, and you can easily switch out of your private Instagram account into your business account. So we're not posting pictures of our children on our business Instagram account, because we would want two separate accounts to do that.
Okay, so we'd like to talk now about the nuts and bolts, the practicalities of how to create a good profile. And first of all, you want your name. Most of the time, it's going to be your business name. But something that is short, something that is recognizable. We've got here, as an example, Amy Porterfield. She's a very, very well-known trainer in the business world. She trains people on how to build email lists and design online courses. And so her name in this case is the recognizable piece to this. And so you'll have to decide in your particular business whether your business name or your own name is more recognizable. And we encourage you to use whichever one you think is the more recognizable of the two. And so you start with that, you get your Instagram name, and then you will want a picture or a logo. And again, whichever one you pick, make sure it's good. And so here's a suggestion on how to pick between the two. Again, going back to whether your name or your business name is more recognizable. If you, as an individual, are more recognizable, for example, Amy Porterfield here has a picture of her because she herself has name brand recognition. as opposed to, for example, our business, we ended up between doing this slide and today switching to our logo because we think our business name is more recognizable than the two of us. And so that's something you'll have to decide. The tip that we want to give you here is that whichever one you pick, make sure it's a very, very high resolution, well optimized version of either your logo or your pick, because when people go through a search, and we'll show you what a search looks like in one of our upcoming slides, that's one of the very first things that they will see is just your picture or your logo. And so if that's not very, very high resolution and done well, that's a bad first impression. And first impressions last about a second on Instagram before they decide to move on. The third thing that your profile should have is some reference to your customers. And now it can be very specific, or it can be kind of implicit. And here in the case of Amy Porterfield's profile, she does it very, very well. I think anybody looking at her profile will know who she's talking to. She's talking to business owners that need to grow an email list or need to do online courses. So you'll want to show that you're talking specifically to your customer, and that goes back to a few slides ago where I talked about knowing your customer. And one of the things that we do when we help people build business or marketing plans is help them build what we call a customer avatar. And so your customer, you'll want to be talking directly to your customer here in the profile. Fourth thing is their problem. What is it that you're solving for your customers? Your profile should make it very clear there. Again, you can be very explicit or you can be implicit. In Amy Porterfield's profile, the problem she's helping to solve, again, is pretty obvious if you read between the lines. People who are having a problem growing an email list, having a problem creating online courses. She gives them the secrets to help them grow it. And by that, she implies that she's going to help them do it quickly and do it effectively. And that segues into the next piece, which is the solution. The solution needs to be obvious so that people have some incentive to know why it is that they follow you, know why it is that they'll click through to your website. And then the final piece is the value for following. And so in ours, in our profile, we indicate that if you follow us, we'll provide people with tips and digital marketing tools and hacks. Here, Amy Porterfield makes it clear that people who are her, who follow her will get the secrets to growing an online raving email list. The key here is to make it tantalizing, give people a reason, and use powerful words. She could have easily said, want to know how to grow an email list, just follow me. But you'll notice that she uses words that are powerful and emotional. The secrets, growing, raving. There's so little space for your profile that it's important to make it clear, quick, and punchy. And so that's why you should use words like that. And then the final piece that we didn't put there is have a good link for your website. Here, Amy Porterfield uses her main website. One thing that we've found very effective with other people is to use a landing page, which is just a page outside of your website that's just tailored specifically to people who go there from Instagram. So if you say go to my landing page for tips, or go to my landing page for my free webinar, then you'll send them specifically to that landing page. Just think about where you want to send people from Instagram so that when they come to your profile, they'll go exactly to where you'll get the maximum benefit out of it. Well, I think we're running short on time, so we're going to go ahead and skip over this next slide. We're just talking about the emotional trigger that you should always be looking for with Instagram profiles and posts. But we'll move on to a pro tip that we want to give you about your profile and how you name yourself. And one thing we've found to be very effective is Instagram allows you to give yourself a title that's different from the actual username. And
okay, so when we went to Instagram, you can see this is a screen capture of our phone here. We were just looking for businesses that have the word communication in it. So you'll see in the top left there, in the search field is communication. And the top 3 businesses that we found that we're followers of, hashtag communications, and then you'll see us, Communication Hackers, and Zelly Communications. Now, you have the option or ability there in Instagram when you set up your account to have like it's a second name essentially. It's like a sub name for your business. It's the name that's in light gray there. And what happens is if you make that completely identical to your first name, your business name, you've just missed a monumental opportunity to give your audience more information about your business. And if you have an obscure business name that doesn't clearly say what it is you're selling or providing, you've just missed an opportunity. So rather than do Communication Hackers twice, you'll see that we clarified what type of business we are in gray, and we put Digital Marketing Made Easy. Now when people are doing searches, they're going to more easily understand what you're selling, and they're probably going to follow you. Whereas Zelly Communications, we have no idea what they are based on their that initial search. Are they selling Wi-Fi communications? Nobody's really sure until you click on them and have to do investigation. So make it easy for your audience by having a second name that explains, and then go and self-stock. So when we self-stock, this is what we found. We found if someone were to type in communications, this is what they would find on us unless they clicked further and investigated further. So do this to yourself and see what are the first 4 words that someone's going to see as your second name.
Okay, we've got a question here about product-oriented businesses. Product-oriented businesses that can't offer secrets or other value that maybe service-oriented businesses can. I think that with product businesses, what you're going to want to focus on, instead of focusing on your product, is the lifestyle your product is based around. And so I talked about hot sauce, maybe all the different ways that hot sauce is being used. Ask your customers to send in their best pics of your hot sauce being used. Or maybe if you've got nutrition products, then again, you want to focus on the lifestyle around the nutrition products. Have people send in pics, or have you post pics that show what kind of lifestyle that your product can help people create. Going back to REI, they're a product-oriented business, and instead of focusing on their product, they focus on the people around it. And so they focus on the stories of people going out into the wild and using their tents and gorgeous pictures of places that they went to. Hope that gives you some ideas. And then the second name, the question about where to enter that, when you set up an account, you'll be asked to create a username, and then you'll be asked to create your name. And that's where you enter what we call the second name. Instagram asks you just for your name, but if it's after you've already created your username, in that spot, you can enter whatever you want, and that's where we enter Digital Marketing Made Easy. So that's our tagline, so we can help people understand what we do. Hope that explains what we're trying to share with this tip.
Okay, so once you've created your profile, we have some tips here for posts. How to attract your audience. And we have some very tangible ways that we have noticed to attract audience as they're in that bathtub surfing through their phone, and you want to stop their thumbs. That is the goal every time you're making a post, is to stop their thumbs from scrolling. So you have to get their attention first of all, and I'm going to show you some examples of what that looks like. And then you can share that story with text and with some words and hashtags. And so we'll go into that. But that first thing you need to do is think about the visual. Visual is the most important thing. If your post isn't interesting, engaging, attractive, you will miss the entire opportunity to say anything further to potential customers.
And I want to pick up there with the idea of visual. It's so important. Visual is what's going to stop people from scrolling past what you've got, and it absolutely has to be great looking. And I think one of the things that trips people up is they run around all day and they think, well, Instagram and my phone, I've got to take pictures with a camera. What do I take pictures of? And they end up taking pictures of their office or their office mates or what's going on in their lives. And they forget that there's a great resource, actually a number of resources for great photos that are just show-stopping photos. And a couple of the places that we like to go to are Pexels, PEXELS.com, and Unsplash.com. Two of our favorite places, actually Pixabay as well, PIXABAY.com. And between those three, I think you've got access to probably 50,000 photos taken by some of the best photographers in the world. And they put it there And they literally say use it for whatever you want, no attribution necessary. If you'd like to, that's great. But that's just a wealth of photos that you can search through by keyword, by tags, and then you can find what's likely going to catch people's attention. In fact, the photo on this slide we got from Pexels, I believe, and someone took that photo. We didn't, but that is an attention-grabbing one. We've used that for a post that got a lot of attention, and then as soon as you get that post, then you build a story around it. And so a lot of times the two-step method we have, Laura finds the photo because she's got the eye for that, and then when she finds the photo, then I'll go through and create the content. And we'll show you right now what that looks like.
Here are two separate posts. These were both highly engaged by our audience. So the one on the left, Eric and I wanted to have a post on Mondays. There's a hashtag associated with Mondays. So anybody that's using Instagram, it can type in a certain hashtag, and if we have that down below, then our post is most likely to show up in their feed. So we were just trying to get a message across, trying to entertain about Mondays, and I found this picture of Angry Birds because it's relevant, it's very clear. The bird was zoomed in, and then the background was kind of fuzzy, so it really created a centralized image in the center of their screen. It was kind of cute, kind of kitschy. I don't do cute and kitschy a whole lot, but on this one it worked really well, and this was a couple months ago, and we've probably got over 20% of our followers to click like, the heart button. 20% is amazing. If you can get 10% of your followers to like your post, you're doing amazing. And so that picture there with just a few words. Now, whether or not our readers actually scrolled down and read everything we had to say about Mondays and entrepreneur life, don't know. But it stopped their thumbs from scrolling, and they read it.
Okay, I've got a question wanting the websites again. Okay, Pixabay, Pixabay is one of them. That actually has a mobile app that makes it really useful. Pexels, PEXELS.com is another one. And then Unsplash, UNSPLASH. And another pro tip that we use with Pixabay and Unsplash, you can actually scroll through the photos and see how many people on that photo app liked that photo. And so that's one of the new things that we've done, is that kind of is a litmus test. If we pick a photo from Unsplash that already has 250, 300, sometimes 1,000 likes on Unsplash's website, we can be pretty rest assured that it's going to get people's attention because people already liked it there. One quick thing about Instagram, and something not to do that we see a lot of, again, thinking only about using Instagram as through your phone. We see a lot of businesses using that as essentially their own photo album. So photos of people getting together for an award. Hey, here's everybody sitting together at lunch. That's interesting to you as the business, but again, you got to remember it's all about your audience, and if it's not interesting for your audience, then it's not worth posting. The story from the Monday. We don't have the ability to put that slide up right now, but I can just tell you that it was just a motivational one that we put in the body, talking about how Mondays are the first day of the week and a lot of opportunities, and you can go out there and get it as an entrepreneur and business owner, and not to let it get you down. So we try to post something at the beginning of every week that's kind of inspirational for our audience, just because knowing our audience is mostly entrepreneurs and business owners. Okay, I think that the number one thing, if you want to walk away from this training with, that will make or break your Instagram strategy is probably hashtags. And we're lucky that we discovered that early on, because we actually learned that from Gary Vaynerchuk, the person that we quoted at the beginning, who's kind of the oracle of social media. He has 2.5 million followers, and so he kind of knows what he's doing. But he encouraged all his followers and people that listen to him to research and understand hashtags. And I can't emphasize that enough. Hashtags are what will make or break your post. Sometimes we go to our competitors or local businesses and we see them put a post up that gets 2 likes, 5 likes, 10 likes, and that's really, really low engagement for Instagram. Instagram engagement rates are so much higher than Facebook or Twitter or anything else. And that's because hashtags weren't used. Now, hashtags are just the way people search. And hashtags means the difference. If you put good hashtags in a post, then it's visible to the entire 700 million users for that day. If you don't push hashtags in your post, it's only visible to the people who are actually following you already. And so, as you can see in that snapshot to the left, those are how many million people are using those hashtags. You can use the search function for Instagram to research hashtags. You can also use Hashtagify. And at the end of this, we'll give you a link to a landing page where we're sharing a free tools, a list of tools that we recommend using, and we'll have Hashtagify as well as some other tools that we think you should have for Instagram. But Hashtagify is a good tool for hashtag research, as well as like I said, the search function for Instagram. And then I'll move on to one slide, and then I'll answer a couple of questions that I've got pending. Here's an example of how we had one question about how much content you should put. This is an example, actually, from this morning of what we like to put as a good amount of content. And this one was a post helping people understand the fact that they shouldn't use as much text as we often see on their websites, to use more images and videos. And so this is an example of a kind of a typical post about how much body text we have below. We also have a question about how many hashtags. Now, 11 to 13's ideal. You can have up to 30. And so we found that 11 to 13 hashtags seems to get the most searches. We try to put some space sometimes below our body text, between that and the hashtag, just to make things look better. We've started using more emoticons on our body text. That's really popular in Instagram, and it'll get you more views.
Yeah, emojis. And you'll also notice that we don't put the hashtags embedded in our little paragraph of text there. Some people will put their hashtags right in their little paragraph, and that looks very amateurish. It looks like they copied it straight over from Twitter. This needs to look unique and different from Twitter. You don't post the exact identical text. So you push all your hashtags to the bottom of your post. People don't want to read your hashtags. That's just how it's going to index it, and it's going to get found. They only want to read a small little paragraph so they can get back to their bathtub and keep scrolling. So keep that in mind.
Okay, and we've got a question about how often to post, and thank you for that question, because it's a perfect segue to our next slide. And our next slide is about building a following, and we've found that without, and just as an example, we started our Instagram profile just a few months ago, I think 3 months ago, 4 months ago, and we grew it from 0 to today we're at 1,050 without any of what they call growth hacking. And growth hackers will do things like buy followers, or they'll use paid advertising to get followers. All we've done is posted interesting posts with hashtags that we think are good to use, and we've been able to grow pretty rapidly. And I think anyone who's listening today can do the exact same thing by just doing that. Post regularly, post what people want to see. And to answer that question specifically, the number of posts, I was reading something this morning, a study on posts at least twice a week. If you want to grow very quickly, we would post every day, and we're actually now experimenting with posting twice a day to grow even quicker. It really, I think twice a day, 3 times a day is probably the maximum before you start overloading your viewers. But posting consistently and posting frequently are the keys. And when we say consistently, you want your viewers to always know what to expect when they come to your feed. And so you don't want pictures of animals one day, and the next day some motivational quotes, and the next day a tip, and then just kind of haphazard all over the board. If people don't know what to expect from your stream, they won't follow you.
Right. We try to even stick with the same fonts so that we create a really cohesive brand. Most of our posts are going to have the same fonts, the same brevity of text on top of layered on top of that image. We don't dump tons of words on top of the photo. And we have a tool, and it's on that sheet that you'll be able to download of our favorite tools that we use. You can upload your logo, and then that puts your logo on every post, which is awesome. It gets people used to seeing your business name or your business logo, your business colors. It's a visual thing, and so anything you can do to mark your posts with your stamp is going to make you more memorable, and people get used to seeing your content. Another thing about ideal amount of posting is knowing when to post, because if you post all of your posts at 2 in the afternoon every single day, you're posting 5 posts, people likely aren't using Instagram to look at your business content at 2 p.m. So you can post all day long and someone might not see it. So if you use those analytics that Eric was talking about by having a business Instagram account, you can see what time of day your niche audience is active and then post during those active times. For us, that's about 8 in the morning and 9:30 at night. We get the most engagement really late at night. It seems that entrepreneurs and small business owners are getting into bed and looking at Instagram very late. So for us, that's when we want to post our posts. 2 p.m. just doesn't work for us.
Just so you know what the next slide is, that's our gift to you. That link at the top, the bit.ly link that's on the screen right now, gets you to a landing page where you can download your very own copy of our infographic that we put together for you with our favorite 7 lists, or a list of our 7 favorite tools, I should say, for Instagram, including one that we use to almost automate everything so we can stay sane. I wanted to follow up with Laura's comment about picking the right time, because something that's important to understand about Instagram's algorithm is that when you post at the time where most of the people see your posts and a lot of people like it, Instagram actually boosts that and makes it more visible on everybody else's feed. So if you post it at a time where a lot of people are seeing it and you get 20 likes in the first 5 minutes, great. That's going to make it even more visible to the rest of the world. And so that's, I think we're run out of time, but we highly encourage everyone to use Instagram. We encourage you to set up the right profile, start experimenting with posts, look at what your competitors are doing, and dive right in. Instagram is free to use, and we think it's one of the most powerful marketing tools available today, and it's only going to get more powerful.
Great. Thank you so much, Laura and Eric. I want to have the opportunity for anyone who has another question to be able to ask that now. And also, how can people get a hold of you if they want you to help them with their website, their social media?
Well, we've got a link on the landing page if you go to that IG tools list, bit.ly link at the top to reach us. But if you'd like to come directly to our site, we are at www.communicationhackers, all in one word, .com. That goes straight to our front page of our website, our home page, and you can get an idea of our approach, and you'll have information on there. I'll share a lot of free information both there as well as on our Instagram page at Communication Hackers.
Great. Thank you very much. Question regarding accessing this recording. Yes, this recording will be posted onto our website under the Let's Talk Business, and you'll also find a lot of different previous Let's Talk Business sessions that you can access if you missed those. So it looks like, Eric and Laura, there's one more question.
Well, that's a really good question. I think it depends on your niche. We've had success both ways. Usually what we try to do is we cover both. And so as you see, we used digital marketing, which is one that's very, very popular. And we always use that one because that's the niche that we're in. But when we drill closer down and we use a hashtag called Make Your Own Lane, and that has more like 10,000 or less followers. Digital marketing has a couple million sometimes. And we do that so we cover both ends of the spectrum. Make Your Own Lane is very specific to entrepreneurs, and so people find that from our entrepreneur niche, and then digital marketing covers the rest of it. And so we recommend covering both. You've got 13 hashtags. We can put up to 30 hashtags, and so I think you can easily use both. What we do also as a shortcut for hashtags, we cut and paste our most popular ones into Evernote, And obviously you can use any note-taking app, but we love using Evernote. And we just, a lot of times we'll just have a note that's our kind of our most popular hashtag, or the most popular hashtags that we use, and we just cut and paste from there a lot.
Fantastic. Well, I know this has been extremely helpful. I really gained a lot, and I hope everyone else has gained a lot as well. Just the knowledge from a general perspective, Eric and Laura, and also really getting into those nitty-gritties on how to even set up your account. I know that I'm going to be inspired now to actually, for the first time, start up my own business Instagram account. So thank you for that. And I just want to remind everyone, I know a lot of people that are on this call today are in the Thurston County area, but Eric and Laura are available by phone and email as well. So I want to thank you all for being here. It's been a pleasure having you guys come. Thank you very much, Eric and Laura, for this really valuable information.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity, and yes, we would love to help anyone, and we're happy to help them anywhere. And we are working on kind of the 201 version of this, the advanced class. If anybody's interested, please let us know. We're working on some ways to grow accounts really fast, ways to use contests and other things like that to really, really take Instagram to the next level. So that's kind of what we're working on next.
Great. Well, thank you, and be sure to tune in to our Let's Talk Business calendar for the next upcoming sessions. Again, lots of great information, and we are really happy you could be here today. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Christine.
Thank you.